How I envisioned this was a one-week course that would introduce students to the first 200 years of American history, to try to pack that all in by going to what I think are the most important sites in New York and Massachusetts. So some of the sites we go to include Plymouth in Massachusetts, the site of the first English colony in New England. We go to where Plymouth actually is today, the actual city of Plymouth. We venture to a replica of the Mayflower. We also go to Salem to see the site of the witchcraft trials. So we walk through and see the places where people were accused, where the supposed witches lived, and then also in that day go to Salem, the city itself, to see some of the interesting ways that Salem has been reinterpreted by modern tourism. We travel the Freedom Trail of Boston, which takes us everywhere from Boston Common all the way through the principal sites that lead to the Revolution itself, including the place where the lanterns were hung so Paul Revere could see them and know whether the British were coming by land or by sea, the site of the Boston Massacre. We then venture to 3 different battlefields. I really hope we get our interpreter at Saratoga again. This is a man who's been doing this for years. He dresses up as a revolutionary soldier, gives students the common life of what it was to be a soldier in this time period. Well, how I tried to structure it was the idea that we would do much of the time together, but also allow sufficient time for the students to explore on their own. We spend several nights in Boston itself. Students have access to the T, access to the subway, to get around the city at night, experience some of the life and excitement of one of the nation's major cities. This is not the all-white male tour. We go to sites, again, at Plymouth to see a Wampanoag village, but also we stop in New York at Ganongdigan, which was a Seneca site where we see a longhouse. And I think there's also an emphasis, especially when we're in Boston, on African Americans and their role in the Revolution, and women as well. You get to go inside actual houses that are still standing, houses where early Americans are living that we know the stories of, the John Hancock, the Sam Adams, Paul Revere, and just to sort of understand how different it was to live in an earlier era. And what's cool about it for me is getting to know the students in a way I can't in the classroom. We get to know each other and get to talk, and this can be much more informal than the traditional classroom. You're getting 3 credits in 1 week's worth of work, or 1 week's worth of intense study. I think it's about experiencing history by going and seeing and looking at and finding it for yourself.